view of the company, of the industry and of the company's operational and financial performance. The year gone by will be remembered as a year of robust recovery and return to normalcy despite successive waves of the pandemic sweeping across major countries. However, continued disruptions in global supply chains and surge in demand, along with the geopolitical tensions, pushed inflation higher, prompting policy actions by central banks. In India, the vaccination drive, which started in late 21, picked up pace and over 80% of our adult population was vaccinated by the end of the year. This helped reduce the social as well as economic impact of the Omicron wave in the fourth quarter of financial year 22. Economic growth in India accelerated in financial year 22 as restrictions eased and demand normalized, which was further aided by improvement in exports and supportive monetary and fiscal policies. Rising inflation, however, remains a concern, prompting the Reserve Bank to undertake an off-cycle rate hike of 40 basis points in May and additional 50 basis points earlier this month in June. The inflation pressure may not subside soon, increasing the possibility of further hikes into financial year 23. Going forward, there are reasons to be optimistic on the economic growth on the back of prospects of a normal monsoon, pickup in the discretionary spend, robust exports, improved balance sheets of corporate sector, as well as improved balance sheets of the banking sector, and signs of revival in private capital expenditure. Factors impacting growth outlook that need to be watched out for include geopolitical conflicts sustaining for longer time, tighter financial conditions, elevated commodity prices, particularly crude oil, which impacts India very badly, and continued global supply chain disruptions. Industry performance. The mutual fund industry's overall assets under management, AUM, as on 31st March 2022, rose 20% to 37.6 lakh crore. The industry added 3.16 crore net new folios, and the total count now stands at 12.95 crore. SIP flows grew by 12,328 crore for March 22, and the industry saw new registrations of 2.66 crore SIPs. Despite the healthy compounded annual growth rate of 16% in AUM over the past 5 years, the mutual fund industry in India remains significantly underpenetrated compared to global averages. India's mutual fund AUM to GDP stands at only 16% compared to the global average of 74%. Our equity AUM to market cap was at 6% as against the global average of 33%. So this is the reason why we are optimistic about the future of our industry. The Indian capital market regulator SEBI has played a very important role in the growth of the industry. It has played the dual role of building investor confidence by regulating the industry while creating a conducive environment for growth. Your company's annual average AUM during financial year 21-22 was 4.37 lakh crores and closing AUM stood at 4.08 lakh crores. Equity-oriented closing AUM accounted for 2.09 lakh crore, with non-equity-oriented AUM contributing the rest. Flows through systematic transactions continue to be resilient, and your company saw flows adding up to 12,970 crore in financial year 22. Your company remains one of the most preferred choices for individual investors, with the market share in individual AUM at 12.5%. We had about 58 lakh unique investors at the close of the year. Your company endeavors to deliver sustainable growth that benefits all stakeholders, aided by a goal of spreading financial literacy, increasing the acceptance of capital market-oriented products, and deepening mutual fund penetration levels in the country. Our wide and robust distribution network, nationwide presence, best-in-class digital infrastructure will continue to be the backbone of our growth. Your company wants to encourage financial independence, especially amongst women. For that, we have launched campaigns like Barni Se Azadi and Lakshmi for Lakshmi. Through these campaigns, we want to achieve our mission to be the wealth creator for every Indian by emphasizing on the need to shift idle money to more growth-oriented instruments like mutual funds. Our company's profit after tax stood at 1,393 crore and grew by 5% over 2021. Total income has increased by 10.5% to 2,433 crores. And our net worth has increased by 16% to 5,530 crores. You will be happy to note that the dividend payout as approved by the board, which is to be accepted by the shareholders meeting, has been increased to 42 per share from 34 per share last year. Obviously, this is subject to your approval. And I am aware that James Investment Management Limited, formerly Standard Life Investments Limited, and Mr. Shashikant Sharma, independent director of the company, have resigned as directors of the company week ending October 25, 2021 and April 11, 2022 respectively. I take this opportunity to thank on behalf of the board for their contributions made by both Mr. Ed and Mr. Sharma during their association with the company. In terms of the Companies Act 2013 and rules made thereunder, read with the MCA and SEBI circulars, the company had sent the annual report and financial year for the financial year 21-22 and the notice convening this AGM through email to shareholders who had registered their email addresses. To facilitate the shareholders who could not cast their vote through remote e-voting, the company has provided the facility to exercise vote during this meeting. Only those shareholders holding shares of the company as on the cut-off date, i.e. June 22nd, 2022, are eligible to cast their vote on the resolutions proposed at this meeting. The company has appointed Mr. Surjan Singh Rauthan, proprietor of SS Rauthan and Associates, practicing company secretaries to scrutinize the voting process. Before I conclude, on behalf of the company, I wish to thank all our shareholders, customers, distribution partners, service providers, and regulatory authorities for their continued support and having reposed their confidence in the company. Last but not the least, I would like to, on behalf of all our board members, I would also like to thank each and every employee of our company for their unwavering commitment and passion towards our company. Thank you. I would like to invite questions. May I request you to please be brief and restrict your questions only to the matters as set out in the notice and annual accounts and the operations of your company during the last financial year. Also, if a point has been raised by a preceders who registered themselves. Due to some technical reason, if we cannot hear the speaker shareholder, I may request the moderator to repeat the question on behalf of the shareholder. As is custom, we will answer your queries after all shareholders have finished speaking and also answer the queries sent by shareholders in advance. In case we do not have sufficient time to answer all the questions, the response will be emailed to you subsequently. Navneet Munot, MD and CEO, will answer all your questions as I am not in the office today. I would request now the moderator to read out the names of the speaker shareholders. Question and answers for shareholders will start now.
Thank you, sir. I request our first speaker, Ms. Lekha Satish Shah. We request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question, madam.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Kindly limit
Thank-
3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Respected Chairman, sir, Board of Directors, and my fellow members, good afternoon to all of you. Myself, Lekha Shah from Mumbai. First of all, I'm very much thankful to our company secretarial team for sending the AGM notice well in time. We have 228 investor service centers. Any plan to increase in other metro cities regarding our investor in equities?
Hello.
Sir, I would like to ask few questions. My first question is, your company AUM has across the 4 lakh roads. How do you plan to own future growth? My second question is, what is the reason for opening a wholly owned subsidiary in Gift City? My third question is, what are the plans for AIP business? So, I would like to say, I strongly support all the resolutions for today's meeting. And my wish wishes always our company and its prosperity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Lekha ji.
Thank you, ma'am. I request Mr. Gautam Kedar Prasad Tiwari. We request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam, and proceed with your question.
You can listen me, sir.
You're audible, sir. Kindly proceed with your question.
Can you see me, please?
You're visible also, sir. Kindly proceed with your question.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very honorable respectable chairman, sir, Deepak Parekh ji, and Mr. par excellence. And our MD Navneet ji, CFO Nauruzar, CS, our CS, and all other esteemed dignitaries, well dignified dignitaries, team HDFC AMC. I am Gautam Tiwari, and I am participating at this AGM from Mumbai. Dear sir, I thank the management first of all for paying a very handsome dividend of rupees 42 per share, which during the last year was only rupees 34. Sir, our company has worked very hard in identifying the area and projects for CSR activities which are really beneficial to the public at large, which has been explained in your opening speech also. Thanks to our CSR department and the relevant people, relevant committee persons for doing such a good job for the community and society as a whole. Sir, our annual report, I must state that our annual report, notice and balance sheet are very well designed, sir, very much informative, transparent and adhering to all norms of corporate governance and dispatched well in due time. Sir, also the investor care service and the investor service of secretary department and their associates is outstanding, and any issue or query is solved immediately. Thanks to our secretarial department and our department for all their polite and issue solving and chair of behavior. I also thank our K FinTech team, technical team, for their excellent investor service year on year to us. I thank the management for selecting such excellent diamond-like service providers for the interest of shareholders and stakeholders. Sir, I've got certain queries. Sir, despite various challenges and slowdown and Russia-Ukraine COVID threat, our MD and CEO and CFO and full secretarial and IR team and along with the entire management and all staff and employees have worked really hard with total commitment, loyalty and sincerity, honesty, and have come out with a flying color for giving this excellent performance, for which our sincere thanks to them. Sir, as such, I support all appointments and reappointments of all directors, and I propose the special resolution number 4, reappointing Shri Deepak Parekh as Executive Director, and also I support all the resolutions which are already written beforehand in favor of them. Sir, very few queries I would like to ask. What initiatives are taken by our company? Secondly, sir, this year dividend is increased to from rupees 34 to rupees 42 per equity share. Do you see this trend to be maintained in further in future also? Sir, what are your plans for new product launches? What are investor awareness initiatives like Barni Ki Azadi and Lakshmi for Lakshmi? Sir, congratulations for all-time high profits. But we would like to know whether it will be sustained further. Sir, one very important thing. One more thing, how many handicapped employees and what is the male-female ratio? But very important thing which I noticed only with this company, sir, our HDFC AMC, I would like to state. Sir, when I inquired from the secretarial department on steps taken by the company to reduce the unclaimed dividend, they have informed me about the steps taken by our company to reduce unclaimed dividend and taxes thereon. I was very happy to learn this. Out of many initiatives, one of these initiatives is the specific exercise to fetch the date of those shareholders who have updated their bank accounts with their DPs, but they haven't approached their R&T agent, Wizard Carvey Consultants, or the company to claim their dividend for earlier years. On the basis of the same exercise and approved data, our company had instructed HDFC Bank through Carvey Fintech and R&T for crediting the dividend of these shareholders whose dividends have not been paid earlier. So now their dividends have been paid earlier. That is why I am not asking this question this time. Now I am very happy, sir, that ours is the first company for having taken stake in the interest of the shareholders so far amongst more than 200 companies where I have been seeing this. Thank you very much, sir, and many congratulations. And I have got no words to express my gratitude for this step. Sir, rest all in the conclusion. Sir, I would we and our full family is always supporting the management, sir. Our company shareholders, our company's investment is in your hand, and we are going to wish you a very safe, healthy, long life and a bright future for the company in years to come. And best of luck and best of wishes for all time. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Maharashtra. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you with the choicest blessings on the earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tiwari.
Thank you, Mr. Gautam Prasad Tiwari. I request our next speaker, Mr. Kishan Lal Chadda, to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Can you hear me?
You are audible, sir. Kindly proceed with your
Thank
question.
you, sir. Thank you to giving me the opportunity to join with you. I am an old shareholder with you. दीपक जी, मैं सबसे पहले सेक्रेटरियल डिपार्टमेंट में सिल्विया फुर्ताडो जी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं और उनकी पूरी एंटायर टीम का, वाल्डे जी का भी और अनुष्का जी का भी, जिन्होंने पहली बार मुझे आपके साथ इस माध्यम पे जुड़ने के लिए काफी अच्छी सपोर्ट दी और मुझे रिमाइंडर भी कॉल भी दी। सर, मैंने काफी बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियों के शेयर्स भी ले रखे हैं, यहाँ तक कि आईटीसी जैसी बड़ी कंपनी के भी, लेकिन मैंने ये देखा उसमें कि शेयर फ्रेंडली नहीं है वो लोग। उन लोगों की तरफ से किसी भी तरीके से शेयर होल्डर को किसी तरीके का कोई अच्छा रिमाइंडर या उनको किसी नहीं दी जाती। इससे सर, शेयर होल्डर को जब आप इतनी सपोर्ट देते हैं तो इससे पता लगता है कि आप कितने शेयर होल्डर फ्रीक्वेंटली हैं, उन्हें अपना फ्रेंडली समझते हैं और उनके जो व्यूज हैं आप वाकई में सुनना चाहते हैं। इसके लिए मैं सारे एंटायर सेक्रेटरियल डिपार्टमेंट का धन्यवाद करता हूं। उन्होंने सर अपनी एनुअल रिपोर्ट हमें ऑन टाइम प्रोवाइड कराई है, इसके लिए भी मैं उनका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं। सर, मेरा सिर्फ मैनेजमेंट से यही एक क्वेश्चन है छोटा सा, कि आज की डेट में हमने काफी अचीवमेंट्स कर ली हैं और हमारे पास कैश लिक्विडिटी भी बहुत अच्छी खड़ी हुई है, लेकिन हमारी मैनेजमेंट थोड़ा सा बोनस के बारे में क्यों नहीं सोच रही? इसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा आप डिटेल में बता दें कि आने वाले कितना टाइम के अंदर हमें बोनस की बहुत उम्मीदें हैं, क्योंकि जब आपने आईपीओ में अलॉटमेंट दिया है तो वो काफी कम शेयर है। तो मैं चाहता हूं कि आने वाले टाइम में हमारी इक्विटी जो थोड़ी सी बढ़ जाए तो बोर्ड उस पर थोड़ा कंसीडर करे, ताकि प्राइस जो है उसके अंदर वॉलेटाइल मार्केट में जो वॉल्यूम है उसमें भी थोड़ा सा बढ़ाव आएगा अगर आप थोड़ा बोनस देंगे। बाकी सीएसआर एक्टिविटी में अब अच्छा करके दिखा रहे हैं, ये भी बहुत एक बड़ी बात है। बाकी सर, मैं इसके बाद इसी से मेरे क्वेश्चन खत्म है, आप इसके थोड़ा बताएं। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you, sir. I request Ms. Ashalata Maheshwari to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question, madam.
हेलो चेयरमैन साहब, मेरी आवाज आती है? मेरी आवाज आ रही है चेयरमैन साहब?
Madam, you are audible, madam.
आ रही है मैडम, आ रही है।
हाँ जी, श्रीमान चेयरमैन साहब, मेरे सभी डायरेक्टर भाई, मेरा नाम आशा लता माहेश्वरी, आप सबको मेरा सादर नमस्कार। चेयरमैन साहब, मेरा बहुत मन था रूबरू मिलने का, क्योंकि जब तक आपसे मिलते हैं नहीं मिले, वो जब जब आपसे मिलते हैं वो दिन हमेशा हमें त्योहार सा लगता है, बहुत मिलने से त्योहार का लगता है, पर ये तो रूबरू मिल नहीं रहे हम। हालांकि कल भी मुलाकात होगी मेरी आपसे। बैलेंस शीट पढ़ी, जानकर बहुत अच्छा लगा कि कंपनी के परफॉर्मेंस बहुत बढ़िया है, प्रॉफिट 5% बढ़ा है। देश भर में आपकी बैलेंस शीट, आपके ब्रांचेस, सभी तरह के म्यूचुअल फंड आपके पास यहाँ पर है। ऐसा है, जब भी म्यूचुअल फंड में इन्वेस्ट करने का मन होता है तो सबसे पहले HDFC AMC का ही ध्यान आता है। ये आपने सालों से ईमानदारी से मेहनत करके हमारा भरोसा जीता है सभी से, और फंड आपके पास सब है, चाहे वो इक्विटी फंड हो और चाहे वो बैलेंस फंड हो, सभी आपके तरह पास में है। आपने हर तरह से इन्वेस्टर का ध्यान रखा है। आपके जो फंड है इनमें इन्वेस्ट करके सच पूछो हम तो चैन की नींद सोते हैं। दीपक पारिक जी, आपने अपने बोर्ड पर एक से बढ़कर एक हीरा रखा हुआ है। मैं यहाँ नवनीत जी की मनोज जी की तारीफ, मैं यहाँ पर तारीफ नवनीत मनोज जी की बहुत सराहना करूंगी, जिन्होंने कंपनी को इतनी ऊंचाइयों तक पहुंचाया। उनके लिए मेरा कहने को मन करता है, मैंने जब बैलेंस शीट में उनका फोटो देखा तो आज मैं कहूंगी, हमें टाइम तो मिलता नहीं है, पर आज मैं जरूर उनके लिए कहूंगी, MD साहब मुस्कुराते रहते हैं, स्मार्ट बहुत लग रहे हैं फोटो में। कहूंगी मुस्कुराते हो ईद के चांद की तरह और लगते हो हीरो रणबीर कपूर की तरह। बहुत रिजेंबलिंग आपकी आ रही है उनसे। और डिवीजन अच्छा देकर आपने हर शेयर होल्डर का ध्यान रखा है। इसके अलावा बहुत धन्यवाद तो देती हूँ। और चेयरमैन साहब, आपने इन्वायरमेंट के लिए भी बहुत किया है। जैसे आपने ऑफिस में LED लाइट लगाई है, यानी पानी बचाने के लिए। नलों में सेंसर लगाते हैं आप, और आपने बहुत से पेड़ भी लगाए हैं। MD साहब, आपका फोटो में मुस्कुरा तो आप रहे हैं, आपके लिए मैं जरूर फिर कहूंगी, हर ख्वाहिश पूरी हो आपकी, और हर ख्वाहिश पूरी हो, हर दुआ कबूल हो, आपके चांद जैसे चेहरे पर सदा मुस्कान हो। चेयरमैन साहब, मुझे तो आप एक बात पहले ये बताइए कि कल मैं आऊंगी, कल भी बहुत बड़ी मीटिंग है HDFC की, कल तो मैं जरूर जल्दी पहुंच रही हूँ, पर मुझे ये बताइए कि वहाँ तो ठीक है, बाद में वहाँ कल ही बात करूंगी, पर मुझे ये बताइए इस मर्जर के बाद आप इन दोनों कंपनियों में चेयरमैन रहेंगे या क्या होगा? अगर आपने मना कर दिया तो आप समझो मैं तो मर गई। आप ऐसा काम बिल्कुल मत करिए चेयरमैन साहब कि दोनों कंपनियों से भी आप निकल जाएं। तो मेरा जरा बार बार आपसे यही कहना है, वैसे आप मुझे आज जवाब भी दीजिए। और मैं यहाँ पर सेक्रेटरी और पता नाम क्या है उसका, यल्दे, उनके दोनों की मैं तारीफ करूंगी, जो बहुत ही अच्छा और मीठा बोलते हैं। मैंने कहा एक बार कि चेयरमैन साहब, हमारा MD साहब इतने अच्छे हैं, हमारा उनसे रूबरू मुलाकात नहीं होती। तो सेक्रेटरी ने कहा कोई बात नहीं है, अच्छा मौसम होगा, आपको बुलाएंगे और MD साहब के साथ आपको चाय पिलाएंगे। बहुत बड़ी बात है, मैं उनको धन्यवाद देती हूँ। और चेयरमैन साहब, लास्ट में अपनी शुभकामनाएं देते हुए कहूंगी, फूल खिले जिंदगी की राह में, हंसी चमकती रहे आपकी निगाहों में, कदम कदम पर मिले खुशी की बहार आपको, मेरा दिल देता है यही दुआ बार बार आपको। चेयरमैन साहब, गणपति जी की बुद्धि और हनुमान जी की शक्ति भगवान आपको दे। मेरी बहुत, अब मुझे ये नहीं पता कल जब मैं मीटिंग में आऊंगी मैं बोल पाऊंगी या रोऊंगी। मुझे, हालांकि आप जो काम करेंगे वो सबके लिए अच्छा ही करते आए हैं, पर फिर भी मुझे नहीं पता कि कल क्या होगा। क्या कल मिलूंगी, कल ही बात करूंगी। आज की मीटिंग में मैं फुल्ली सपोर्ट देते हुए धन्यवाद देती हूँ।
Deepak sir, you're on mute. Thank you, ma'am. I request our next speaker, Mr. Manoj Kumar Gupta, to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. Mr. Manoj Kumar Gupta, we request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. No response received. I request our next speaker, Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala. We request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala, we request you to kindly unmute
Hello,
your audio.
Manoj Gupta. Hello, Manoj Gupta.
Sir, you're audible. You're audible.
Yeah.
Kindly proceed with your question.
Good afternoon, respected Chairman, Board of Directors, shareholders. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Sir, I totally agree with Asha Lata ji for you. I reside in Calcutta. I have joined this meeting from Calcutta. I have a great respect. We peoples of Calcutta, I have a great respect and regards for you, sir. And we also request you do not leave us in between that. बीच में मझधार में मत छोड़िए, sir. स्वामी, son of the soil, स्वामी विवेकानंद always says कि जब तक दिल और दिमाग है तब तक आदमी को काम करते ही रहना चाहिए. That I have always asked Mr. Ratan Tata also, and you should also consider, sir, कि do not leave us, and you should also continue as chairman of all your listed companies, because you have done that thing that Swami Vivekananda कबीरा जब पैदा हुए जग हंसे हम रोए, कुछ ऐसी करनी कर हम जग रोए. तो आपने कितना बड़ा अंपायर खड़ा कर दिया है. HDFC बैंक, HDFC लाइफ, HDFC AMC एंड ऑल सब्सिडरीज. एंड आपने अभी एक स्लोगान बताया, वेल्थ क्रिएटर विजन, लक्ष्मी टू लक्ष्मी. तो आपने तो सब शेयर होल्डर को लक्ष्मीपति ऐसे ही बना दिया. जिस कंपनी का आपकी लीडरशिप में HDFC का शेयर मिल गया वो लक्ष्मीपति ऐसे ही बन गया, क्योंकि चाहे वो HDFC AMC हो चाहे HDFC लाइफ हो, आपने लो प्राइस में इशू किया और शेयर होल्डर को कमाने का मौका दिया. मतलब उस आप जैसा आदमी आज इंडिया में चाहिए जो कि स्मॉल इन्वेस्टर्स का भला सोच सके और उनको कुछ रिटर्न देने का सोच सके. ये विजन आज के दिन इंडिया में बहुत कम लोगों के पास है, सर. और सर, have you any plan to split the shares to increase the market liquidity and market capitalization? And thanks for your 420% dividend from 340%. And I thanks to our beloved MD and his team for the excellent result in this deprived situation and the tough condition of the. And what's your future outlook for AMC business, sir? And how you will face a challenge from the inflation, sir? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Manoj Kumar ji.
Thank you, Mr. Manoj Kumar. I request our next speaker, Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala. We request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Dynamic Deepak sir and my fellow shareholder. I am speaking Mr. Yusuf Rangwala sir. I was waiting for my chance, sir. I am very happy to see sir. Deepak साहब केम जो साहब, तबियत पानी केम जो साहब, तुम्हारे तबियत सारी ने साहब. मारो भी साहब प्रणाम, नमस्कार. और सर आप તમે સપનો ભાવ સર 3000 રૂપિયાના આસપાસ 32 રૂપિયાનો ભાવ છે સર. मैं हैप्पी डिलीज पर जो તમે સર આપણે म्यूचुअल फंड નો अपनो एसेट मैनेजमेंट મને કે પૂછો ને સર તમારે કેપિટલશિપ માં હોય, अगर मैं पूछूं तो सर કે મારી સાઈડ તમે સારી મેનેજ કરો છો સર. એવી પીપલ ને भी बहुत धन्यवाद को अपने पिछली विमल सर. आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू गिव माय गुड रिगार्ड सर. अपने पास बहुत अच्छे सेक्रेटरी टीम है सर. वी आर वेरी एक्सीलेंट टीम है सर. व्हेन वी आर द HDFC ग्रुप कंपनी सर. यस सर, नथिंग मोर टू ऐड सर. सर अपने मुझे और कुछ ये पूछना है सर. मैं आपको बहुत धन्यवाद देना था और आपके सर हौसला के लिए मैं आया हूँ. नेक्स्ट ईयर जब आप मिले
तो अपना सर फिजिकल मीटिंग हो सर, मैं आपसे रूबरू मिलना चाहता हूँ फिजिकल। ये अभी कोरोना में सर 3 साल हो गया अभी सर। नेक्स्ट ईयर सर हम चाहते हैं कि फिजिकल मिले एज सुन एज पॉसिबल। जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र, एंड आई विश यू गुड लक सर, माय साइड सर, वेरी गुड लक फॉर योर फ्यूचर सर। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, हैव अ गुड डे।
Thank you, Yusuf ji, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yusuf. I request our next speaker, Mr. Vinod Motilal Agarwal. We request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
I am speaking only through my audio. I'm not switching on my video. Yeah.
You're audible, sir. Kindly proceed with your question. Thank you.
Respected Chairman Deepak Parekh ji, our MD Navneet Munoj ji, our CFO Nauzad Serwala ji, and good afternoon and regards to everyone, sir. Sir, I've gone to the annual report the way I could. The assets under management are 4,07,053 crores and the PAT was 1,393 crores. And out of this, 1,393 crores you distributed 64% of the as the dividend of 724 crores at 42 rupees per share, sir. And whatever queries I've noted down, but going through the annual report on the management and discussion analysis, all the queries are answered out there, sir, between pages 38 to 61. Why there's an increase, why there's a decrease in certain expense, and why the revenue has gone down, all have been answered within the pages 38 to 61. I would not like to repeat the queries which I had noted earlier, but if the answers are there within the book, I don't want to take them up again. And as investors, we are concerned that the share price has come down in the past year. It's almost half, sir. I'm sure it will come back when the FIs will come back and invest in companies like us, sir. The FIs have withdrawn a lot of money from India during the post-October 21, and our companies will come back into. They will come back into India, as India is the largest and the fastest growing economy in the world. When they have got no option to not to come back into India, sir. And sir, promoter company HDFC will be merging with the HDFC Bank. What synergies will be there for our asset management company with the bank, sir? Bank assurance is a business which mutual funds and bank people normally sell each other's products. Those synergies would be there, but how much cost savings would be there in that system, sir? I'm signing off. Vinod Agarwal. I wish the company all the best, and thank you, sir, for giving me time.
Thank you, Mr. Vinod Motilal Agarwal ji. I request our next speaker, Mr. Manjeet Singh, to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
Am I audible?
You're audible, sir. Kindly proceed with your question.
हाँ जी, HDFC लाइफ मैनेजमेंट की पूरी टीम, चेयरमैन साहब, सेक्रेटरी डिपार्टमेंट, माय को शेयर होल्डर, आपके रजिस्ट्रार और मॉडरेटर जिन्होंने इतनी दूर बैठे हमें आपके संपर्क में लाए हैं, सभी का मैं स्वागत करता हूं और भगवान के आगे प्रार्थना करता हूं कि सभी स्वस्थ रहें। सर, हमारी कंपनी जिस तरह आप चला रहे हैं बहुत अच्छी बात है। आईपीओ आया, उसके बाद बड़े अच्छे रेट मिले। अब ये जो हमने इस साल का हाई बनाया 3365 रुपए का, उसके मुकाबले लो बनाया 1690 रुपए का, और आज हमारा करीब शेयर जो है लो के करीब ही है 1750 रुपए का। ये जो आपने जो HDFC लिमिटेड को HDFC बैंक के अंदर मर्जर की जो बात की थी, उसके बाद हमारी जो कंपनियों का मूल्यांकन है वो शेयर बाजार ने मतलब अच्छा नहीं नापा, उस चीज को मतलब ठीक नहीं माना। यहाँ तक कि हमारे प्रमोटरों ने भी इस साल के अंदर शेयर बेचे, म्यूचुअल फंड ने भी बेचे, और जो इन्वेस्टर हैं फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर उन्होंने भी शेयर बेचे। तो जो बोर्ड निर्णय करता है, क्योंकि आप जो चेयरमैन हैं जी पारिक साहब, आप करीब करीब अपने सारे ही जो अपने प्रोडक्ट हैं आपके HDFC के, उनमें आप लीडरशिप करते हैं और आपकी कमांड में ही और आपकी देखरेख में ही बोर्ड मीटिंग होती है। तो जो चीज अच्छी लगे शेयर बाजार को इस तरह के निर्णय आप करें। शायद बाजार में इस तरह की कोई खबर की गई हो कि भाई आप शायद सारी कंपनियां ही HDFC बैंक में मर्ज कर रहे हैं, कुछ ऐसा बूम चल रहा है क्या? थोड़ा आप इस बारे में बताइएगा। और हिंदुस्तान किसानों का और जवानों का रहा है, आजकल अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का भी हो गया है काफी। आपके जो जैसे मेजर बैंक हैं, जो HDFC या जो आपकी कंपनियां हैं, ये अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट को खत्म करने की तरफ कितना काम करती हैं? आप हर साल कितनी नौकरी पैदा करते हो नए बच्चों के लिए? थोड़ा इस बारे में जरूर बताइएगा। बाकी जो है अदर एक्सपेंसिव में आपने 20% का जो खर्चा ज्यादा का है अदर एक्सपेंसिव के अंदर, कुछ ऐसा क्या हम खर्चा करने की जरूरत पड़ गई जो अदर एक्सपेंसिव हमारे बड़े हैं? थोड़ा आप इस बारे में जरूर बताइएगा। और पर्यावरण की तरफ ध्यान दे रही है सरकार और पेड़ ना कटें, इसलिए जो है एनुअल रिपोर्टों पर रोक लगाई गई है, वो जो है मेल के थ्रू हमें आती हैं। तो मेरा आपसे सुझाव है कि अगर आप अपनी जो एनुअल रिपोर्ट है वो खुद बेचें, आप उसको Amazon पर उपलब्ध कराएं। जो आपका शेयर होल्डर है जो लाइब्रेरी रखना चाहता है आपकी रिकॉर्ड के रूप में, तो उसको वो जो है आपकी एनुअल रिपोर्ट खरीद कर उपलब्ध हो जाए। क्योंकि जितने भी आप डायरेक्टर यहाँ बैठे हो, चेयरमैन, सब आगे HDFC लिमिटेड की एक हार्ड कॉपी जरूरी होगी। हम उससे वंचित ना रहे, हम पैसे खर्च कर ले लें। सरकार चाहती है कि वृक्ष ना कटें और जो है पर्यावरण उचित रहे, इसलिए उन्होंने इसके ऊपर रोक लगाई है। तो आप अपनी जो एनुअल रिपोर्ट है वो Amazon पर उपलब्ध कराइए, सेल करिए उसे, ताकि शेयर होल्डर जो पैसे खर्च के लेना चाहे वो ले ले। बाकी हम कामना करते हैं कि आपके दिशा निर्देश में कंपनी और अच्छा करेगी और हमारा जो है मार्केट वैल्यू और अच्छा आएगा। जो आपने डिविडेंड दिया है और जो आपके और प्रस्ताव हैं, सभी का मैं समर्थन करता हूं। डिविडेंड आपने हेल्थी दिया है। आने वाले टाइम में मैं उम्मीद करूंगा कि शायद दूसरे या तीसरे क्वार्टर में शायद कोई हमें हेल्थी और डिविडेंड मिले तो बड़ा अच्छा लगेगा। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Mr. Manjeet Singh. I request our next speaker, Mr. Santosh Kumar Saraf. We request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
नमस्ते, एक मिनट में वीडियो शेयर कर रहा हूँ। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, उपस्थित निर्देशक सदस्यगण और मेरे शेयर भाइयों बहनों, मेरा नाम संतोष कुमार साहब, मैं कलकत्ता से बोल रहा हूँ। सबसे पहले आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। आशा करता हूँ आप हमारे जितने डायरेक्टर हैं, जितने भी अधिकारीगण हैं, इस समय अच्छे स्वास्थ्य में होंगे। सर मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ अच्छा डिविडेंड देने के लिए। और मेरे 2-3 तो प्रश्न है सर, कि तो डिजिटल ट्रांजेक्शन है वह पिछले साल से इस साल 6% कम हुआ है, जबकि अपने हर साल डिजिटल ट्रांजेक्शन बढ़ना चाहिए था। तो क्या रीजन है सर ये कम होने का, ये बताने कष्ट करिएगा सर। एक सर मैं देख रहा हूँ कई साल से रिटर्न ऑन इक्विटी दिन पर दिन कमती होते जा रहा है, इसके बारे में क्या मतलब रीजन है, ये भी बताने कष्ट करिएगा सर। एक सर अपने जो ई वेस्टेज निकलते हैं, कंप्यूटर आज ही तो अपनी वेस्टेज, इसको डिस्पोज करने के लिए अपनी क्या पॉलिसी है और किस तरह से आप डिस्पोज करते हैं, इसके बारे में बताने कष्ट करिएगा सर। एक सर आपको मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ, सिंगल जो वाटर बोतल के रिप्लेस करके आपने ग्लास और स्टील की वाटर बोतल यूज करनी शुरू की है सर। एक सुझाव मेरा है सर, इसके साथ में अगर कॉपर की वाटर बोतल करेंगे तो और भी काफ़ी अच्छा होगा, कि कॉपर हम लोग एक जमाने प्राचीन जमाने में कॉपर की यूज करते थे, जो कि पानी को बहुत ज़्यादा शुद्ध करती थी। तो मैं चाहूँगा उसके साथ में कॉपर की या कॉपर प्लस स्टील की जो होती है अंदर में कॉपर बाहर में, उसको यूज किया जाए तो काफ़ी अपने शरीर के लिए फायदेमंद होगी सर। सर एक मेरे को बताइए क्या स्टेप उठा रहे हैं आप कि जो अपना गैप है फॉरेन अर्निंग और फॉरेन एक्सपेंडिचर का, उस गैप को कमती करने के लिए अपने क्या कदम उठा रहे हैं, क्या विचार है? क्योंकि अपना एक्सपेंडिचर फॉरेन में ज़्यादा और अर्निंग कम है, तो हमारी फॉरेन मनी बाहर जाती है। तो हम चाहते हैं कि फॉरेन से हमारी मनी हमारे इंडिया में आए, जिसे हमारा रिजर्व है, तो इसके लिए क्या कदम उठाने बताने का कोशिश करिएगा सर। और एक मेन फीमेल का रेशियो 2.2 के अंदर के अगेंस्ट में 1 फीमेल है सर। इस रेशियो को और कमती करने के लिए क्या कदम उठा रहे हैं ये भी बताने का। भी एट प्रेजेंट 2.2 मेल के अगेंस्ट में 1 फीमेल लाई है सर। सर नेक्स्ट मेरा ये है कि कई कंपनियों ने जो अग्निवीर योजना जो अभी मोदी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने लॉन्च की है, जिसके बारे में काफी एजिटेशन चल रहा है, तो उनके लिए कई कंपनियों ने रिजर्वेशन दिया कि भी हम जब निकलेंगे तो हम इतने % एम्प्लॉई अपने यहाँ रिजर्व करते लेंगे सर। तो ऐसा अगर अपना कोई प्रस्ताव बोर्ड में अगर चिंता हो कि 4 साल में जब निकलेंगे तो अपने भी उसको देंगे, तो शायद मैं सोचता हूँ एजुटेशन वालों को भी हिम्मत बनेगी और भी हमारे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट भी हर में ऐसा कदम बताओ तो बताइए सर। एक सर लास्ट मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि पहले फिजिकल मीटिंग करते थे, उसका एक्सपेंसेस क्या होता था, और आज जब वीडियो कॉल में मीटिंग कर रहे हैं उसका एक्सपेंसेस क्या है। और दीपक जी एक हाथ जोड़ से रिक्वेस्ट है सर, आपकी हर कंपनी के हम शेयर होल्डर हैं, लेकिन मैं करता में रहता हूँ इसलिए हर मीटिंग अटेंड नहीं कर सकते हम लोग। तो यह है कि कल फ्यूचर में अगर फिजिकल मीटिंग शुरू होती है तो 10 से 15 मिनट का एक सेशन रखिएगा, जैसे हाइब्रिड मीटिंग हो, और बाहर वाले जितने भी पैन इंडिया शेयर होल्डर हैं वो अपनी मन की बात कह सके। ऐसा हमारे केशवराम इंडस्ट्री कलता में भी किया है और पहले इन्फोसिस वाले भी करते थे सर। तो ऐसा कंसेप्ट ध्यान रखिएगा जिससे हम अटेंड करें, अपने दिल की भावना प्रकट कर सके सर। और ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं, एक बार आप सभी के लंबी उम्र की कामना करता हूँ। आप सभी परिवार, जितने भी डायरेक्टर, जितने भी अधिकारीगण हैं, जितने हमारे फील्ड वर्कर, उनकी लंबे भविष्य की कामना करता हूँ, उनके परिवार की सुख की कामना करता हूँ और भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ भगवान फाइनेंशियल 2022-23 सबके लिए वेल्दी, हेल्दी और प्रोसेस और सेफ्टी के साथ देते हो। एट लास्ट में अपने सेक्रेटरी डिपार्टमेंट को काफ़ी धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा। वो उनके करीब मेहनत के कारण और जितनी भी एजीएम के टाइम मेहनत कर रहे हैं, मिस्टर वाडे साहब, अनुष्का, बिमल जी, उनको भी धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि उनकी करीब मेहनत का फल है कि आप एकदम अच्छे से आपकी मीटिंग अटेंड कर रहे हैं। जय हिंद, जय भारत, नमस्कार।
Thank you, Mr. Saraf. I request our next speaker, Ms. Bharti Saraf, to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
भारती साहब मेरी वाइफ है सर, वो बीमार है, अटेंड नहीं करेगी।
Thank you, sir. I request our next speaker, Ms. C.E. Mascarenhas, to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Madam, you're audible.
I can.
Yeah,
I'm audible, no?
Yeah, thank you.
Respected Chairman, Mr. Deepak Parekh, other members on the board, my fellow shareholders attending this virtual, I am Mrs. C. Mascarenhas. I am speaking from Mumbai. First of all, I thank the company secretary, Madam, and her team for sending me an e-annual report and also registering me as a speaker, and also to the K-Fintech people giving me this platform to speak in virtual. The working is good and a very good dividend of ₹42. I'm very grateful to you all per share. But my question is whether we will be able to retain this for next year or get still better. Dil mange more. Our market capitalization is also good. Now I come directly to the queries. Our mutual fund assets under management is 4,07,553 crores. What our management thinks for within 6 months, how much to make it, whether 5 lakhs crores, what is the dream that the management has? We have 26 equity-oriented schemes, 48 debt-oriented schemes, and 2 liquid schemes. Which among them is very popular with our investors? Number third, how much is contributed in mutual fund by rural? I want only in percentage. And which is the most popular mutual fund with the rural people? So why we don't have silver or silver ETFs or NASDAQ like some other mutual funds have? Could you throw some light, or we are in the process for going silver? silver or Nasdaq or other types of mutual funds. Of course, I give real credit for your 10 years have passed that cancer care fund, and it is going well and helping so many of our people. So that's a good thing. Which of our mutual funds has given the highest return all throughout and this year? What is the amount by way of SIP, total amount we are gathering from SIP, and how many are added in this quarter, SIPs? Rest, I support all the resolutions. I wish my company, I wish Sir Deepak Parekh all the best, long life, and you be in all this because you are the only one who was always taking care of small investors. So we always look upon you, and we always pray, at least I pray, that God should bless you with good health and a long, long life, so that you can always take care of our investors in these days. A lot of turmoils which is happening in the equity in all sorts of markets. It is a lot of turmoil with all inflation. With this, I thank you so much. Now Mr. Mascarenhas will say some two words.
Yes, sir. Respected Chairman, sir, very distinguished members of the board and my fellow shareholders. Good evening to you all. My name is Aloysius Mascarenhas. At the outset, I thank the management, company secretary and the team and the registrar for sending me the e-balance sheet which I received on time. It is exhaustive, simple, informative, transparent and adhering to all the parameters required for a good corporate governance. Our results are very good as shown as facts and figures, and a very handsome dividend. Most welcome by us in this time of crisis. Sir, I have only two questions. One is what our stand 1 to 5 in the AUM, where do we stand 1 to 5, and what is our market share, and which mutual fund is doing very well. One question which is hurting me is that the unclaimed dividend, first they used to convert it into units, which was very good, because that the dividend goes to the investor fund. But if it is converted into units as it was done before, it's a very good practice. So I would like this practice to continue, sir. Rest, many questions have been asked by my predecessor shareholders, so I would not like to give a chance to the others. So with this, I thank you personally, members. I wish them all good health and wealth and prosperity in the days to come. With this, sir, thank you very much for patient hearing. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, sir. I request our next speaker, Mr. Aspi Baman Shah Basania. We request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. Sir, you're not audible. We request you to kindly check your audio connection. Sir, you're not audible. We request you to kindly check your audio connection. Mr. Basania, you are not audible. Kindly request you to kindly check your audio connection. Mr. Basania, we'll come back to you. We request you to kindly check your audio connection. I request our next speaker, Mr. Satish Jayantilal Shah. We request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. Mr. Satish Jayantilal Shah, I request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. No response received. I'll move on to our next speaker. I request Mr. Humayun Beroz Bardohi to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. I request Mr. Besania to kindly switch on your audio. I request Mr. Rajesh Kevalram Chenani to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. Mr. Rajesh, we request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. No response received. I request Mr. Ravi Kumar Naradi to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. Mr. Ravi Kumar, we request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. No response received. We'll move on to our next speaker. I request Mr. Ronald Fernandez to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question. No response received. I request Mr. Bharat Moolchand Shah to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
हेलो हाँ सर आवाज आ रही है दीपक भाई आवाज
आवेश
हाँ केम छो दीपक भाई
ऑल गुड थैंक यू
माननीय चेयरमैन श्री दीपक भाई के जी मिस्त्री जी और अन्य मान्यवर डायरेक्टर सर मैं बरसों से आप HDFC ग्रुप के AGM अटेंड करता हूं सर बरसों से HDFC ग्रुप का शेयर होल्डर रहा हूं सर मेरी कोई क्वेरी नहीं है सर हमेशा न्यूट्रली तटस्थता से आप कंपनी चला रहे हो सर शेयर होल्डर को हमेशा रिस्पेक्ट दिया है शेयर होल्डर का ख्याल रखा है और शेयर होल्डर को गुड अच्छा रिटर्न दिया है सर बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं सर अभिनंदन देता हूं डिविडेंड भी सर छप्पर फाड़ के आपने दिया है हर कंपनी में आपका डिविडेंड छप्पर फाड़ के रहता है सर तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं इसके लिए पूरे बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर चेयरमैन साहब आप और पूरे बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर कंपनी के छोटे बड़े सभी एम्प्लॉइज का मैं धन्यवाद मानता हूं अभिनंदन देता हूं सर अपनी कंपनी बहुत आगे बढ़े गॉड ईश्वर को मेरी प्रार्थना है सर 5 इयर्स के फ्यूचर प्रोग्राम क्या है जरूर बताना सर और सर सारे अवार्ड्स के लिए भी मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं सर अभिनंदन देता हूं सर और सर CSR एक्टिविटी भी बहुत अच्छी तरह चल रही है तो एक मानवता का कार्य है सर तो इसके लिए भी मैं बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन देता हूं सर और ऐसे ही आगे चले और सर मैं कंपनी सेक्रेटरी से सेविया जी और उनकी टीम के अनुष्का जी और उनकी पूरी हार्ड वर्किंग टीम को बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं सर बहुत हार्ड वर्किंग टीम है ऐसे कंपनी सेक्रेटरी की बहुत रिस्पेक्ट शेयर होल्डर को हमेशा रिस्पेक्ट देते हैं कोई क्वेरी है तो सोल्व करते हैं इसी माध्यम में से जुड़ने के लिए भी सर हमको बहुत उन्होंने हेल्प की है सर तो मैं फ्लेविया जी और उनकी असिस्टेंट अनुष्का जी और वालदे जी और उनकी पूरी टीम को मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं सर और बहुत हार्ड वर्किंग टीम है और गुड इन्वेस्टर सर्विस दे रही है तो मैं पूरी टीम को धन्यवाद देता हूँ सर फेस टू फेस अपन जो 2-3 साल से नहीं मिले हैं सर तो आपको मिलने का मन फेस टू फेस होता है सर तो एक हो सके तो एक दिवाली के बाद गेट टुगेदर जैसा प्रोग्राम सर रखना जरूर तो अपन फेस टू फेस मिल सके और नेक्स्ट ईयर सर AGM भी फेस टू फेस रखना तो एक आत्मीयता का बड़ा होगा अपन फेस टू फेस साथ में मिलेंगे सर और सर आपकी हेल्थ अच्छी रहे ईश्वर गॉड को मेरी हृदय पूर्वक प्रार्थना है और आने वाले सारे त्योहारों की शुभकामनाएं देता हूं सर दशहरा दीपावली गणेश चतुर्थी सब त्योहारों की मैं आपको एडवांस में शुभकामनाएं देता हूं सर और सारे रिजोल्यूशन में सर मेरा पूरा सपोर्ट है सर थैंक यू वेरी मच सर थैंक यू जय हिंद सर जय हिंद थैंक यू सर
थैंक यू भरत साहब
Thank you, sir. I request our next speaker, Mr. Dharav Jamadar, to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam, and proceed with your question.
Good afternoon to all the dignitaries present on the dais. Sir, am I audible?
You are audible, sir. Kindly proceed with your question.
So my name is Mr. Dharav Jamadar and I am a PhD research scholar from Surat. First of all, I would like to congratulate the board of HDFC AMC on presenting such a fabulous numbers in the last financial year. Furthermore, I would like to present some questions from my end, onto which I would be glad if they are answered too. So first question, looking at the current scenario when there is depreciating rupee, high and volatile crude oil prices and disrupting supply chain, how is my company bracing itself to keep generating positive cash flow from the investment which it is doing? Second question, in the scenario of rising concern of inflation and recession, which sector is my company investing in enthusiastically and thinks that it would be the less affected one? Third, my company has tremendously shown how a giant can generate positive cash flow in long term, but our ROE in the last couple of years on YOY basis is decreasing. So what are your views on this aspect? Fourth, competition in the industry is intensifying. So how are we preparing ourselves in order to protect and control our already diminishing market share? Fifth, what employee engagement programs has my company conducted in order to keep employees engaged and energized for the broader mission and vision of the company? Sixth, what kind of product or scheme launch can we expect in this particular financial year from our company? 7, what outlook do you have for the sales of our company for the particular coming monsoon and the festival season? Will the SIP from the retail increase or decrease? And the last request which I would like to place is that being a financial research scholar in PhD and also being a loyal customer as well as a shareholder, I would like to get myself employed in the company, but I am unable to find proper options on the career portal. So I really request that any HR personnel from your end can really contact me if possible. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dharav.
Thank you, Mr. Dharav. I request our next speaker, Mr. Aspi Baman-Shah Besania. We request you to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
Aspi, are you there?
Sir, we are not able to hear. We request you to kindly check your audio. Mr. Besania, we request you to kindly check your audio. Mr. Besania, we request you to kindly refresh your login. We'll move on to our next speaker. I request Mr. Rajesh Kevalram Chenani to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
You are audible, sir. Kindly proceed with your question.
Respected Chairman, Mr. Deepak Parekh ji, highly distinguished Board of Directors, my fellow shareholders, myself Rajesh Chenani from Mumbai. So first of all, I am shareholder of all your HDFC group, entire group, sir. I am very, very happy with lot of appreciation in the share price and everything. But regarding this share, sir, I would like to say, I don't know what has happened in the AMC market. Our share was trading at 4,300 something. So now it has gone down a lot. So is the competition affecting us? You can throw the light on that, sir. And I'm very much thankful for the excellent dividend. Compared to last year, you have increased the dividend. So it is very good, sir. The 42 rupees is very good. Down the line, sir, you can give us a highlight for the coming 1-2 years, sir. Because we are passing through from 2020, we have been through the COVID period. So you can just throw the light for the year 2023-24. So what are our plans and all? Because there is a lot of competition now in AMC. A lot of other companies are also entering. So if you can throw the light. And sir, I would just pray to God that we beat against the personally, because it's been a very long time, sir. So for that, I would like to say one thing, sir. मंजर धुंधला हो सकता है, मंजर धुंधला हो सकता है, मंजिल नहीं, दौड़ बुरा हो सकता है, हौसले नहीं. So sir, we'll definitely meet sometime, sir. And I wish all the company my best wishes, and I support all the resolutions, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Won't take much of your time because a lot of questions have been asked, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. I request Mr. Aspi Baman Shah Vasania to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
Now can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You are.
Alright, third time lucky. So this is the 23rd AGM and you have 4 lakh crore AUM. So after 23 years, you have 4 lakh crore AUM. So when do we expect it to double? In how many years? So quarter on quarter profit has reduced. Whereas year on year for quarter 4 profit has increased by 4%. Then annual year on year profit also increased by 6%. So how do you see going forward? So you written aspire, believe and achieve on the annual report, which is very nice. What are you aspiring to achieve? Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you, SP.
So now we have to rely on the 2 operators only. So we don't have any option. So that's why they're not improving the service. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I request Mr. Ronald Fernandez to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your webcam and proceed with your question.
How many more speakers, ma'am?
Sir, we have left with only 2 speakers, sir. Mr. Ronald Fernandez.
We can't get hold of Ronald.
So we will move on to our next speaker. I request Mr. Humayun Beroj Bardohi to kindly unmute your audio and proceed with your question. Ma'am, kindly unmute your audio and proceed with your question.
Can you hear me?
Madam, you are audible. You have muted yourself. We request you to kindly unmute your audio and proceed with your question. Madam, you are muting your audio. We request you to kindly unmute your audio and proceed with your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Madam, yes, you are audible. Kindly proceed with your question.
So sorry. Oh, it is such a delight to meet Mr. Deepak Parekh. It's such a delight. Beruz used to love meeting him year after year after year in all the AGMs where he used to be present.
We could not connect.
Can you hear me, Mr. Deepak Parekh? We wish you a very long and healthy life. Looking at you, I think of my Beruz. I miss him very much. Acha. Now, regarding asset management, I have read your annual report. It is very exhaustive, all about digital problems and this problem and that problem. I just want to ask, sir, who are the competitors? We know there is GEM Financial, Stalwart, and others. We just want to know that. And during the lockdown, what have been the problems? All companies have had problems. So many companies had problems with the banks. So how have you managed? What have you done? Have you acquired anything? Yes, regarding mutual fund, we read, you instruct us, you instructed the women, you advise, that is very good. Mutual funds are very good, yes. So we would like to know, we missed meeting personally Mr. Teke Mistry also. We used to meet all of you all personally. We hope to meet you personally. So just throw light on certain things like the latest situation though about the asset management, how much you have acquired, how you are dealing with the same, though you are now in many other branches and many other, doing many other things. I close my speech here. I wish you all the best.
I've heard a lot, and also Keki Mr. all of the board members a very long and happy life, and wish the company all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So with this, we have given the opportunity to all the shareholders who have registered themselves as a speaker. Back to you, Chairman, sir. Thank you.
So, as I mentioned, let me take some general questions, and whatever not been answered can be looked at by our CEO, Navneet Munot. First of all, a number of shareholders have complimented our secretarial department. Thank you for the compliments, and we know they're working hard, and they're working on behalf of all of you to make you get you all the information you need on time. Many shareholders have complimented Gautam Tiwari, Lekha, Mrs. Mascarenas, Chadda, Rangwala, lot of shareholders. So thank you for that. And a few shareholders have also complimented our service providers, KFin Technology, particularly Mrs. Mascarenas. So thank you for that. Now let me talk a little on the dividends. Some shareholders wanted to know whether they were happy with the dividend, but whether we'll be able to maintain the dividend. Now we don't give future forecast, but the board has looked at our reserves, the board has looked at our profitability, and have come to a unanimous conclusion about the dividend declared. So barring unforeseen circumstances, every company looks at least be able to maintain the dividend if nothing goes wrong during the year. So we have only completed not even 3 months, April, May, June. So we have not completed 3 months. So we have to wait for the balance 9 months to see. But we'll try our best. We have your interest at heart. So we'll see what we can do on dividend for the current year. Unclaimed dividend is a problem faced by all of our companies, and I'm sure by other companies as well. As you know, our secretarial department is very conscientious. They write to them, they try and talk to them on the phone, they send mails, they send couriers, and this is a problem that is existing, and it is going bigger and bigger due to change address. People don't inform, and we don't have the right bank account. They change their bank account, they change their location. So this is a problem faced by all of our companies. One shareholder wanted to know about bonus. I think it is too premature to talk of bonus, but I'm sure the shareholders have heard your question. And asset management companies, I'm not aware of any asset management company that has given bonus so far. It's a nascent industry. As you know, earlier it was only Unit Trust of India. Now there is a large number of competition from all banks. Most of the banks have asset management companies. So I think we'll have to wait and see what about bonus. But at the moment, it doesn't look possible or feasible. Again, someone asked what is the future. As I mentioned in my initial talk, that India is so underpenetrated in the asset management business compared to our developing countries, compared to the emerging markets, compared to global standards, that we have only one way to go, that is go higher. As I mentioned, AUM to GDP in India is only 16% today. Global average is 74%. So we have a long way to catch up. And even if you take the developed countries away, the AUM to GDP would be in the 30s and 40s, while we are still at 16. So we have a lot of catching up to do. Again, if you look at AUM as a percentage of market capitalization, our AUM as a percentage of market capitalization is 6%, while the global average is 33%. So even the possibility, the future, the point I'm trying to make is that we feel that the future of the asset management business is very good because of underpenetration, because of more middle class and inflation. Someone asked about inflation. I personally feel the best method to tackle inflation is equity. If you buy equity of good companies, good industries, good management, that is the security or the safety valve that can take care of inflation. In a high inflation situation, your fixed deposits will not be able to sustain the same cost of living or the same lifestyle that you are living, because inflation will be higher than the rate of interest on your deposits. So for inflation, for the forthcoming inflation which is expected globally, investment in equity is probably one of the better bets to protect yourself. I know some people mentioned that they are disappointed that the share price has come down, but the foreign institution investors this year, in less than 6 months, have sold $30 billion of shares of all companies, predominantly of the financial sector, because of other emerging market issues. Nothing to do with India, but everything to do with their redemptions and their requirements and their repayments and their liabilities. So I know one shareholder said we'll bounce back. FIIs will have to come because we are a large country. We have a growing middle class. Domestic consumption is our strength, is our main strength. And as more and more people get into the middle class, individuals are investing more in mutual funds and directly into the equity market. One shareholder, Santosh ji, wanted to know why dividend outflow is so high, foreign exchange. See, we have foreign institutional shareholders. We had Standard Life as a partner. Now their shareholding has come to 16%. But the entire dividend of Standard Life goes abroad. Plus all the FII shareholders, the dividend goes abroad. So this is very, you can't have your cake and eat it. We agree with your point on diversity. We have to change the ratio a little bit. And I'm sure Munot and Navneet and others have noted your question that the ratio is not very favorable in our case. Someone wanted to know the market share. Our market share is 12.5% of the individual AUM. At the moment, it is 12.5% of the individual AUM. I think even the balance sheet and the annual report, most of the shareholders complimented. It's fairly detailed and it gives you a lot of information. And we would also like to meet face to face, but this pandemic and this corona resurfacing caused a little bit of concern. And the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has also extended the virtual AGM proceedings up to December 2022. So please bear with us. As soon as possible, we will try and see if we can have a virtual AGM. Now, even the CAGR growth, someone wanted to know. See, we have a very healthy 16% CAGR growth over the last 5 years. The growth in AUM has been 16% year on year on a CAGR basis. So I think our company is doing reasonably well. Yes, we've had hiccups because of COVID, but I think we are getting out of it, and we hope that with our Gift City and new products. Someone asked about new products. We are always looking at what new products to introduce, and we have a pipeline of new products which will be submitted to SEBI for approval. And so I think I have answered some general questions. Some of the specific questions that I've not been able to answer as I'm not in the office, I'd like Navneet to take over. And please take over. Navneet, all yours now.
Thank you so much, sir. And I echo the sentiments expressed by all our shareholders, the appreciation about you. And we can say the same, that I think we benefit immensely from your experience, insight, and the wisdom. And so is the case with all the other board members. Somebody asked about plans to increase our investor service centers. So we are present in 227 places. We also get the benefit of the presence of our R&D agent CAMS offices, but we keep evaluating. Whenever there is any other opportunity from any other place, we'll be open to expand our offices based on our business requirement. There were a couple of questions on that our AUM has crossed 4 lakh crores, and how do you plan to grow this further? As you would be aware, our chairman mentioned about the deep under penetration of mutual funds. If we look at as percentage of GDP, if we look at equity AUM as percentage of market cap, if we look at the number of unique investors, there are just little over 3 crore unique investors in mutual funds, compared to the number of people who file income tax returns, who have the PAN number, people who would have income where they can invest some amount through the SIP in mutual funds. There is tremendous potential for growth. We have put a very audacious vision and mission for our company. The mission is to be the wealth creator for every Indian, and the vision is to be the most respected asset manager in the world. And the management team is working hard to ensure that we achieve our mission and vision, and the opportunity provided by India's economy, India's capital markets, India's potential of channelizing the savings to investment through the capital market products, we should be able to capitalize on that. Chairman has mentioned about the reason for GIFT City presence and what we would be doing there. There were a couple of questions on the new product launches. So last year we had 8 NFOs. We filled our product bouquet on the side of international funds, one sector fund, banking and financial thematic fund. We had a fund of fund. We also had 4 index funds. This year again, we'll be launching a couple of more funds, particularly on the passive side, as well as a few more funds on the sector and thematic side. And of course, the debt index fund that we would be launching this year. So we had a lot of NFOs last year. We also have a large product pipeline for this year as well. In terms of the sustenance of profit, of course, as chairman mentioned, and I would reiterate the tremendous long-term potential of this industry. But of course, in the near term, markets can always be volatile. As you understand that our equity AUM, apart from the flows, even the mark-to-market impacts our AUM, and there could be short-term impact on the profitability, but we believe in the long-term potential of the economy and India's capital markets, and also the potential of the mutual fund industry within that. In terms of the diversity, both the gender diversity as well as the from especially able. So we are an equal opportunity employer and look at everyone very positively and have requisite environment already in place within the leadership team. If I remember correctly, almost 33% of our leadership team are women. Of course, even as an organization, we have one of the better ratio of women, female versus male, relative to most of our peers as well as within the BFSI sector. We take pride, but at the same time, I take your words as well as the direction from the chairman that we would keep looking at that, how do we can improvise continuously. On the bonus issue and the dividends, I think chairman has already put in his words. The question of Mr. Manoj on the opportunity in the domestic market, I think as I've mentioned that given our brand recall, given our pedigree, given our people, our product range, our performance track record over a long period of time, the presence that we have across the country, the digital assets that we have created, I think all offshore over a period of time, along with the partnerships that we have built with tens of thousands of distributors across the country, we remain very confident of the growth potential that we have. Bharti ma'am, thank you for your concerns for our people, and I'm happy to tell you that everyone is safe and healthy, and thanks for your concerns, and we really appreciate your thoughts and prayers for our people. I mean, the lessons that we have learned from the pandemic and how are we working. So I think we activated our business continuity plan. We facilitated work from home, and we could work seamlessly thanks to the digital and the IT infrastructure, the best-in-class infrastructure that our team has put in place, through which our teams could continue to engage with our partners, with our vendors, with all the other stakeholders throughout the pandemic. We also, with the necessary protocols in place, we created an environment where people could work from office wherever it was needed. And as I mentioned that in the last 1 or 2 years, there have been a lot of learnings, particularly in terms of the business continuity during an extremely challenging environment. And I think credit to our people, I think we worked seamlessly and have also continued to improvise on our digital and IT infrastructure. I think in our communication strategy particularly, I think which could undergo a major overhaul to ensure that the tectonic shifts that have happened in the world of marketing, I think we took the full advantage of that as well. Couple of other questions on the digital transactions, why they have come down. So as a percentage, they may have come down. In absolute terms, the digital transactions have gone up. Almost 3/4 of our transactions happens in the digital mode, but as branches have opened this year, a lot of our senior citizens, both as investors as well as partners who feel more comfortable with the physical transactions, they have started coming back. But at the same time, we continue to take more efforts to ensure that a greater number of transactions happen through the digital mode. And some of you talked about our efforts on the environmental side, on the sustainability side, and this is also one of the important element of our efforts towards greater sustainability. And then we'll continue to work harder to ensure that we have higher proportion of our transactions that happens in digital mode, and we reduce the usage of paper in every possible form. In terms of the return on equity, so because the net worth has gone up due to the rise in retained earnings, you have seen the decline in the return on equity from 32 to 27%, but otherwise profits have grown by 5% in the last year. And some of the suggestions in terms of, again, on better environmental concerns, usage of glass or steel bottles, and some of them I think we have noted down all of them. Chairman has talked about the difference between the foreign exchange earnings as well as the expenditure, because they have to be viewed independent of each other. They pertain to different counts. On the reserving jobs for Agniveers, I think we'll give serious consideration to such candidates whenever we evaluate them for employment with us. There's a question on the cost of physical AGM versus the virtual. So we incurred 15.47 lakhs for AGM conducted in 2019 versus 10.93 lakhs for AGM in 2021. How much AUM comes from the rural areas as well as SIP contribution from the rural areas? So we look at B30 cities. That's the data which is made available to us through association of mutual funds. So overall industry has around 16% of the AUM that comes from B30 cities. We would also have, because of our nationwide presence, we also have a similar set of the proportion of AUM that comes from B30 cities. Within the equity funds, that number would be more like 26-27%, and we have a very good share from that as well. In fact, another way to look at it, we get money from almost 99% of the PIN codes in India. So we have a nationwide presence, and we get the trust and confidence of investors from every nook and corner of the country. Which fund is more famous and get more sold? I think different funds are for different set of investors, and we get money in like almost all of them from the investors who have the need for that particular strategy. Why we don't have the silver fund? So we have filed with the regulator, and we will launch it as and when we get the approval. We did the Developed World Fund of Funds, and somebody asked why we have not done the NASDAQ or some of the other funds. I think our product strategy is mainly driven by what our investment team believes in, what our product team believes in, and we have done the Developed World Fund of Fund last year, and we have another fund which has been filed with the regulator. Which was your last fund launch? So as I mentioned, we did last 8 NFOs in the last year, starting with a fund of asset allocator fund of fund. We had a banking and financial services thematic fund. We had 4 index fund, 1 international fund, the Developed World Fund of Fund, and 1 HDFC multi-cap fund. And all of those funds had a very good response from our investors as well as distributors. Where do we rank in the MF? So we are among the top 3 fund houses in India when it comes to our AUM in the equity, fixed income, and money market. Market share, I think Chairman has already indicated among the individual shareholders, among the AUM from individual investors would be around 12%. On the equity side, it would be a little over 11%. And on the fixed income and money market side would be more like 13%. On the unclaimed dividend, I think Chairman has already mentioned. And once again, thank you all for the appreciation of our annual report of this year, for the work done by the people of HDFC AMC, as well as all our secretarial team, the good work that you have put in. I think that really encourage each one of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Navneet.
Back to our chairman.
Yeah. Thank you, Navneet. Thank you. As mentioned earlier, those who want to vote now may do so by clicking on the icon appearing on your screen for voting. E-voting will be available for the next half an hour. I authorize Sylvia Furtado, our company secretary, to declare the voting results of the AGM as earliest as possible to the stock exchanges and place on the website of the company. The resolutions will be considered as passed subject to the receipt of requisite votes for information. Number of shareholders attended this meeting today through VC. With your permission, I call this meeting to an end. Stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you for your interest in attending your AGM. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.